Welcome into Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. South Georgia, let's talk sports. The point of this show is to familiarize you with the head coaches throughout the area, and that's exactly what we'll be doing tonight by inviting in Leroy Hood. The second-year Turner County football coach is only in his third year in South Georgia, but here's a guy who's made a name for himself in his home state of Arkansas and has a chance to do the same in the coming years here in Ashburn. Hood has 3 state championships to his name as a player and coach. He's also won 7 conference championships out in Arkansas. Now a coach in the 229, Hood has his eyes on turning the Rebels into a contender. Tonight, he elaborates here in the WALB studios, making his debut on Sports Talk. Welcome in, and I'm glad you made the ride up.
Glad to be here.
Well, Coach, my first question, and before we get into that, actually, I got some good questions for you.
All right.
You can tell I'm excited to ask them.
Yes, sir.
Before we get into that, we generally like to, again, familiarize the audience with yourself. So I want to run through a quick look at your coaching resume. Now, you're a former All-State quarterback.
Yes, sir.
At what point did you decide you wanted to get into coaching?
Actually, I went to school to do what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that didn't work out. I actually decided to get into coaching after I was done playing ball over in a small league over in Europe. I got back to the States, was looking to get into radio or TV, and I wind up working for the Verizon Yellow Pages. After 2 weeks, I decided, hey, I think I need to be coaching some football and getting my teaching certification.
Well, there it is, and you got your start there back, and I appreciate the love for journalism, man, because I got love for it as well. You got your start there in 2009 as an offensive assistant at El Dorado High School. Now, make sure I get this right. These are all in Arkansas, right?
They're all in Arkansas.
El Dorado High. Then you go as a D-backs coach at West Memphis High, still in Arkansas.
Yes.
Got you. You know, these cities.
Right across the bridge.
There it is. Thanks for clearing that up for me. 2012, 2013, a D-back coach at Springdale. Then you're a defensive coordinator back at Fort Smith Southside.
That's right.
You return to Springsdale High in 2015, and then you get your debut in South Georgia as a D-backs coach at Tift County High School in 2016. How did you end up going from Arkansas to Tift County? What was that tie-in there?
Well, it's a crazy story. I was actually on vacation in Georgia. Me and my family, we went to Atlanta to the aquarium. We went to Savannah, the historic downtown, and I'm laying in my hotel room, me and my wife. I was on the laptop looking at some things, and I got a phone call from a college coach in Arkansas by the name of Paige Anders. His brother is Ashley Anders, the head coach at Tift County. So anyhow, he called me like, Hood, what's going on? I told him I'm in Georgia, you know, visiting out here on vacation with the family. And he asked me if I'd be interested in talking to his brother about a defensive back position job, you know. So I told him, sure, I'll talk to him. I asked him where was it at. He said it's in South Georgia, Tifton, Georgia. Had never heard of Tifton. I knew about Valdosta and Albany, but I never knew where Tifton, Georgia was. So anyhow, he gave his brother my number, Coach Anders, head coach at Tift County High School. He called me. We talked for a while. Upon that, we were leaving the next day, leaving Savannah on our way to Arkansas. And he and the defensive coordinator there, Mike West, met me in the Kroger parking lot in Macon on my way back to Arkansas.
Right.
We talked. I got a good feel for him, and we set up a meeting where me and my wife can come down and check out the school and actually interview for the job. So that following week, we were on our way back to Georgia. We sat down. We saw the city, saw the school, got to meet a couple of the kids, and upon that, me and my wife made a decision that, hey, I think we can make this place home. So that's how it all worked out. I had no intentions on coming to Georgia, but I'm glad I did get that phone call.
That's an awesome story right there.
Yes, sir.
That's why we do this show right here, man. That's impressive. Anders is a friend of the show. He's been on as well. You said you saw that episode.
Yeah, he's an Arkansas guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's originally from Arkansas.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All these tie-ins, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to your Turner County Rebels. Last year was your first year. Actually, you know what? I keep getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited. I heard your story, and I just realized the first thing we need to talk about here after your coaching resume is that family. You spoke about your wife. You spoke about you got your kids that you're bringing around with you. What is it to have them here with you, and how have they enjoyed the South Georgia lifestyle these past
Man, it surprised me quite a bit because we moved from an area where there was over 300,000 people, the Fayetteville, Springdale area, where the University of Arkansas is, major corporations like Walmart, Tyson's, J.B. Hunt. So it was a fluid, community, and it was a lot more to do as far as in that area. And with us moving here, our kids, we actually had an offer to go back to Arkansas, and I told the kids about it, and they were like, no, we like South Georgia. We love it where we are. They've made friends. I got a daughter that's 11th grader. The other one just graduated and is actually going to Albany State. So they love it. And with Florida being so close, it cuts down on, the cost in my pocket as far as travel and things of that nature. So it worked out for the best.
That's good. That's always, look, anything to save on the budget, I'm
no
always
doubt.
down.
Yes, and women, they can be expensive.
Yeah, you got a couple daughters, a wife,
Hey, that's right, and a dog.
And a dog, oh man, this is a guy that's hustling. Well, also hustling was your team last year. What did you learn from last year's play? You guys went 6-5, made the playoffs in your first year, and that was your first time being a head coach of a football program there.
Man, it was a eye-opening experience. I always felt like I was ready to be a head coach, a few years back. But until you actually get in that seat behind that desk and you're the head man making decisions, not only as far as with your players, making decisions as far as coaching staffs and things of that nature, hiring guys. I learned quite a bit about myself. I learned quite a bit about the team and just the whole how everything works as far as the community, administration. And not only the things that go on between the lines, I learned so much, off of the field. But as far as my team, we grew up and we've took strides since day one, and I can only see us getting better. I always preach to those kids. I know it's kind of redundant to them. I just tell them, if we're not coming out every day getting better, aiming to get better, then, we're doing ourselves a disservice. But overall, I was pleased with the way the season went. Wish we could have went a little bit further. But I think we learned quite a bit, and I think it only did, good for us going forward.
Definitely, that's one thing you're looking for is the progression there. And then this year so far, you're 2-1. Had the close loss versus Cook, but two good wins, where it was double-digit margins or 2-score margins at least.
That's
How do you
right.
feel about this team and what they've done so far this season?
Well, I feel real good about this team. I wanted, in scheduling this season, as far as our non-region schedule, I looked to get teams to put teams on the schedule that would test us. I knew we would have quite a bit of experience coming back, so I didn't want to go out and look at teams on paper that I felt like I knew it would be a W. Some teams, for some programs, that's probably good for them as far as getting wins and getting confidence, but I wanted to come out and play teams that I knew that we would have to play and be battle tested early. And, we started out with Berrien in a scrimmage, which was a wing T team. Ended up winning that game 20-7. We played Worth. I think we had an 11-point win against Worth at home, which is a 3A opponent. And we went to clinch on the road, was up 13-3, and wind up, kind of letting that game slip out of our hands towards the end of the game, and wind up losing by 3. And we kind of took that loss into the Taylor County loss, and I think that kind of propelled us to where we could jump out to a 30-0 halftime lead, and the game pretty much got called up on the coach as far as the timing. We wouldn't have been able to start till 11:15 that night. Oh, with the weather and everything. Lightning and or whatnot, and we could have played it the next morning, but he decided to go ahead and just chalk it up, and we took that 30-0 lead at halftime and wound up with the victory. And I think that loss at Cook kind of opened our eyes and taught us a lot about ourselves.
Definitely, and we'll have the good thing about this show is you were able to bring a player in. You got Trent Henderson waiting on the sidelines here. We're gonna bring him in now. He'll talk a little bit about learning from the loss, not only from last year, but the loss this year and more. But before we do that, I want to pitch you guys against each other in our trivia segment. So stay tuned. Right after this break, we're gonna have Coach Leroy Hood versus Trent Henderson. We'll see who comes out on top. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. I'm Theo. To my right is Leroy Hood, second-year head coach of the 2-1 Turner County Rebels. And to my left, just joining us, Trent Henderson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Defensive back, punter, and receiver for the Turner County. Do you ever get a break there?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No breaks.
No breaks. Well, that's good. Well, hopefully you give your coach a break here because I heard he wasn't really ready for today's trivia. We'll see if you're able to take him down. Generally, you think you got him?
Oh, Cole, you already know, Cole.
What about,
No, Cole.
I don't even have to speak.
Neither one of y'all look too confident, to be honest. Y'all lucky I'm not on one of these sides.
You're right.
But But generally, I'm playing against the coach. Today, I am the host and the guy that's going to be dishing out the questions. So hopefully I pick some good questions. And we'll start it off with question number 1. And you'll get 2 options for this one. Who led the league in rushing yards in 2017? Was it Todd Gurley or Kareem Hunt?
Todd Gurley.
Ring the bell.
Todd Gurley.
That's wrong. It was Kareem Hunt for the Kansas City Chiefs. I like the confidence.
Oh, my goodness.
Ring the bell. Come on. All right. Maybe I didn't go through the rules enough. Ring the bell.
Okay.
Answer the question, you know.
All right.
Let's get into it. You ready?
All right.
They say they're the rebels. They rebelling against my rules here. Which NFC South quarterback finished was the only one actually to finish with a completion percentage over 70%? Or actually, you know what? That's the wrong one. We got it up here right here. We're going to ask this question that's on the board. Who bounced the Atlanta Falcons from the postseason last year? Was it the Eagles or the Rams?
Eagles.
There you go. Good stuff, man. Get you a ball. That's what I'm talking about. How you ain't know that one?
I wanted to go ahead and kind of give him
Okay. Give him a shot.
Right.
Building your confidence up, just like a coach.
That's it. That's right.
Let's get to question number 3. And I believe this is the NFC South quarterback question. Which South quarterback was the only one to finish with a completion percentage of over 70? Was it Matt Ryan of the Falcons or Drew Brees of the Saints?
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, man, knows his stuff. Y'all too timid with the bell. You don't even want to put the football in your cup. All right, look, for these next 2 before we go to break, it's going to get intense because if you get it wrong, he gets a chance to steal and vice versa. So you want to hit that bell. You want to throw in the right answer. And the question is, Cam Newton and Dak Prescott both tied for the most rushing touchdowns in last season as a quarterback. How many rushing touchdowns did they have?
Let's go track. 11.
No. That's pretty high. You think highly of these guys.
Say about 6.
6? You got it. That's what I'm talking about. Another football. Congratulations there. That's the answer. Y'all gotta get. I wish I was going up against y'all, man. I get a win every week. And and my very last question, if we could bring it up there, is going to be. And this before we go to break, we got this one last question. Let's see it. Maybe there it is. Which team had a new NFL head coach but still led the league in scoring last season per game?
The Rams.
There it is. The Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay came in there and tore it up. You get a football there. We're tied at 2 apiece. This has been the most slow-paced game we've had in the history of sports talk. We've done this for over a year now. We'll see if one of them picks up the tempo and gets into maybe a little no-huddle style offense right after the break. You're watching Sports Talk. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. I'm joined by the Turner County Rebels. They have 2 wins on the season. Both Leroy Hood and Trent Henderson have 2 balls. Here in the trivia game, we're going to see who can win this one. Take it home. We got about 4 more questions left. Let's see who has it. The energy's still low here. I want to see if you guys are going to pick it up. We picking it up?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Nice. He cool. He too cool over here.
Too cool.
We're going to see how cool he is when we start throwing these questions at him. Let's get question number 5 in there. Which player is with a new team this season, but he led the league in receptions in 2017? Wide receiver.
My goodness.
With a new team. These are, if you haven't noticed, these are all 2017 NFL questions for those at home that haven't picked up on it yet.
That's right, 2017.
All of them last year. He led the league in receptions. This is a young guy, played football, college football in the SEC. You want to go?
Whoa.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Landry.
There it is, Jarvis Landry. I'll let you slide with that one. You get football for that.
That's right.
All right, let's get this next question. See, it's getting intense. I'm giving the hints now.
That's right. I needed that one.
Next question up. Julio Jones was second in receiving yards last season in the NFL. Who came in first?
Of course, Steelers. My guy, Antonio Brown.
There you go. I was about to say now, you talking about of course. I thought he ain't had a name. You said you were going.
Man, I already knew that. He just got to it for me.
Well, that's the object of the game.
He got that one.
Are you gonna get this next one?
I'm coming.
You coming?
I'm coming.
Let's see what he. Let's see.
All right.
Let's see. All right.
Let's see.
Which running back has fantasy football players across the nation worried because he hasn't showed up to play football?
Was that too soon?
Nah, you can do it.
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon,
Man, come on,
When it
baby.
comes to the Steelers, like you
You chin, coach.
Okay.
You chin.
Thank you.
Now this last question is worth two, but it looks like we're already out of reach. We'll go ahead and give it to you guys as a formality to see if you can blow them out the water. Which quarterback went undefeated as a starter last year despite his team finishing with a losing record?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, he's what happened? What happened? I thought you was a track star. He supposed to come back. He supposed to hop him down.
This is not the track.
Oh man.
He chin. He chin, coach.
Did he cheat? Did he cheat? He was
cheated.
peeking on the screen or something, huh?
I seen it.
Had to be.
Okay.
Had to be. Well, congrats, Coach Hood.
Thank you.
Another win for yourself.
That's right.
You know, Trent, you got to make it up, maybe in practice. Make him run some sprints if he can get his mind right. We'll be right back, and after we come back from the break, we'll talk about how last year's playoff loss is shaping this year's team as well as the way that they're shaping up for 2018. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey. I'm here with the Turner County Rebels football team. We got Leroy Hood, and we have Trent. I almost messed up right there. Trent Henderson. I almost tried to say the whole name that you gave me earlier. Get the people your whole name there.
Trendarius Henderson.
Trendarius Henderson. A guy that's playing on all three phases for your receiver, cornerback, and punting the ball. Which one do you think you do the best there?
Oh, DB.
DB?
DB.
That's it?
Defense.
All right, well, we're going to see. We're going to see throughout the season how well you're doing. We probably got some highlights of you already on defense.
That's right.
For you guys as Turner County, the biggest hurdle, at least the biggest immediate hurdle that I see that you guys have to cross is getting out of your own region in Region 2 single A football. You got Clinch County and Irwin County. I mean, how tough is it having to go up against the teams that faced each other in the state title game in your classification?
It's pretty tough. You know, upon my arrival in Ashburn, I already knew that region, you know, on Sundays, us coaches, you know, we break down film. When I was in Tifton, they would say, man, that region is loaded. You know, you got Irwin, you have Clinch, you have Charlton, you got Turner, Wilcox, you know, just to name, you know, those five. But it's tough, you know, and one thing about it, we know if we can compete in our region and compete with those teams and actually get this program to a level where we can win those games, we know that we pretty much can be a state champion contender if we can play with those guys.
Gotcha. For you as a player, I mean, what is it? How much does it fuel you when you're going up against those two teams there, knowing that those have been the cream of the crop when it comes to single A the past few years?
Well, you know, Coach, he prepares us during the week, so like we riled up for the game. We ready.
Yeah.
So like once we going into the game, we always see it like we gonna win, but you know, thing go sideways. We always ready. Just doesn't go the way it's planned.
Well, you always got it. And this year you got a shot. You got a clean slate and a chance to play both of them. So we'll see how that pans out. We'll have the cameras out there, of course. And two guys that have done some damage for you guys and is probably doing dividends, having them be able to come back around, are both playing wide receiver at FSU right now, Tamarion Terry and Ontario Wilson. First off, you as a player playing D-back and wide receiver, what is it like to have them come back and speak? And I'm sure that were you there while they were there as well?
Yes, sir. I play slot with Marion on his side. Well, you know, seeing them come back, it give us something to look up to, give us something to shoot for. We want to be like them. We trying to get out of Ashburn just like they did. Go D1.
Got you. And then for you as a coach, seeing them do that on Saturdays, how much is it is it able to give you as those players to let them know you can do that coming out of Turner County?
I mean, that's great for the community. It's great for our school. It's great for the team to see guys from a town of, you know, the size of Ashburn, from a small town, to go and actually play not only Division I ball, but for Florida State. That's a national brand. So anytime you can get guys in schools like that, universities like that, is always good for your school, is always good for your program. And we definitely stay in contact with those guys and follow them and wish those guys the best, you know, at that next level.
Definitely. Wilson and Terry both playing receiver right now for FSU. And now we'll focus on this year's version of the Turner County Rebels. You were there last year. Both of you were there for the Schley County loss in the postseason in round 1. You feel like you could have won that game. What did the team learn from that, and how are you taking it into this year?
Well, we learned quite a bit, you know, especially those younger guys that have the opportunity to come back and defend, you know, what we couldn't get done last year. You know, those seniors after the game, just walking in that gym after the game at Schley and seeing, you know, seniors breaking down in tears, hugging each other. I don't think it was a dry eye in the whole building. You know, as far as me, I try to hold it together, but just seeing those guys the hurt and the pain that showed, it kind of motivated, you know, these upcoming classes, you know, to work just that much harder to avoid that feeling of defeat in the first round like we did last year.
Definitely. Well, we're going to see how the team plays out this year. So far, 2-1. You're on a bye week. You'll have more to go, and we'll be out there in Ashburn to watch you. Thanks for joining us again, Trent, Leroy.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for watching at home. We'll see you next Thursday night.